I'm very excited to see how good it actually is. It's been way
Yeah,
too long. How are things?
good, good. It's yeah, it's been, I mean, we talked about this, I don't know, was it 2 months ago or something? But
We did.
then time flies, and
It
no, it's
does.
good.
It
It's
does.
super busy. We have had a lot of things to do.
Yeah, nice. There you go. For Lumar already.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's good if it's working out, right?
yeah, it's really good. I
I
mean, it's been surprisingly well received, I think, in the market. So
yeah,
I'm super happy. Um,
yeah. It's I think it's interesting though, and I have this with a buddy of mine as well. He basically set up his own gig as well, coming from a consultancy though. And right now, I'm contemplating if that is the easier way to do it, instead of coming from a CDP where you as the asset you were always for free, right?
yeah.
So you have all these great relationships, but like they've never had to pay for you. Versus if you sort of come from a consultancy world, they already know that you're like a paid asset. So the conversation is different, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I'm not
maybe
saying
it
it's
is
not
like that.
working, but
In your case, they have paid for the platform, uh,
it's indeed.
but then you
Yeah,
have come along.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
maybe I
So
don't know.
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. It's a lot.
But it's
I would
nice.
say, like in the beginning, it's of course a lot of network
Yes.
control.
Yes. It, it's a lot of conversations. I've been using the time though to build a couple of things as well in the background, like with Rasmus, the personalization canvas, right? That is finished now, and I want to do much more promotion on it. Um, we finally have sort of
I'm
the whole
meeting
knowledge.
with him. Yeah, I will meet him. Or we are emailing about meeting up when he's in
Oh,
Sweden next
nice.
time.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, he's a good guy, right? And he did the cards now. He printed them so you can have them all physical. And I'm taking sort of the angle to say, well, physical is just going to land in a drawer. Here is the digital version
Yeah,
connected to 5 specialized AI agents. That could be an interesting one, right? So we did that together. And we've finally got some knowledge graph data and test environments up and running, which I'm super excited about. So
oh, that-
no, it's just you
that's
need
cool.
the right contact.
He asked me to make a praise for his book, which I did, but I didn't make the cut. Apparently, he for some reason he chose larger brands, more well-known brands. Uh,
Okay, fair enough.
but his loss.
Indeed, indeed, right? No, and I think the update was quite interesting as well. But now it's just like, yeah, more conversations, more talking to people. Um, yeah, let's see. I'm still
Yeah,
excited.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you've had a very, very interesting Instagram post. And that was,
LinkedIn, I
again,
hope.
sorry,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Sorry, yeah, my bad, my bad. LinkedIn post. I'm going to do Instagram now as well. I
Yeah,
actually
yeah, maybe
built
I
a
should do
little,
as well. Open
yeah,
space.
I built a little, yeah, no. Seriously, I've built a little automation that basically takes videos and auto publishes them to Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts because I was like, the content is there, right? Like, why not try at least? You're not supposed to reach like the wide audience and content of me
It might
dancing, but
it might work. Like, I mean, I'm following like on Instagram like a guy. He's a freelance consultant, but he all these like tips and tricks when you have your own company. So I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe
who
maybe there
knows,
is an.
right? And if it's just a yeah. Yeah, and maybe it's just a conversation starter, which would be fine as well, right? Just because people see it everywhere, and I was like, yeah, okay, you know what? It is rather easy to build these things now, even though when you then go into the nitty gritty of understanding how TikTok's authentication works and that you actually need to host like your own little server to get the tokens refreshed and everything. Or Instagram can use a binary data file, but you actually need to download it, host it on the server for them to pick it up. It always looks easy if you see all these automations on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
But if you really get into it, you're like, ugh,
Write
it's like,
this and get my build up content, like write the
yeah.
prompt in. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. So, you do what you can. But coming back to your LinkedIn post, of course, I would be curious to understand why you're thinking so much about it, because I've had the same thing. I've been very much contemplating all the different conversations I've had and also what people on LinkedIn say. And I think it's interesting because you have that one camp that says the search traffic via OpenAI and Claude is all getting up and nobody's using, normal SEO anymore and SEO is dead, etc. And then you have another camp that like constantly puts out content saying no, but search is still on the top front. We're very far away from it. But I think it's going to be the reality that we're not going to use Google or any other tool to do our product discovery, to do the initial, awareness, product, etc. Looking into that, what should I buy? Where should I buy it? I don't think it's going to happen.
No, no, and I think like starting like with why I'm thinking about it, I don't know, but I think, I mean, AI, okay, of course, like we can discuss if you have like the hype or a bubble or like everything, but my belief is I think this will fundamentally change a lot of things, how we are doing and how we are behaving and how we are like shopping and how we're interacting. I think it will fundamentally, if you look at it like in a bit longer perspective. I think it will definitely like you always have this like hype, you have the buzz, and oh, everyone is excited, and then you try to find use cases, and then like all the cases that like the Gartner hype cycle sort of thing, like when and then it goes down a bit because like oh, it didn't really work as we expected, but then you get these ones that are like actually fundamentally changing things and working, are still alive, and they are like building, and I think that's what's going to happen with AI as well. But and I've been discussing this. Maybe like I'm been in a lot of dialogue lately with like different e-commerce players, and then I always ask them, like, of course I'm interested in this topic, but I've always asked them, like, how do you think AI will change your business? And you get from like not that much at all to like I think this is a complete shift. What's actually happening
Interesting.
here?
Yeah.
I actually had one guy I talked to. He had asked his e-commerce platform, like, how are you thinking about MCP, like to connect there? And they're like, MCP what? And he was like, that was the guy that actually should have known what it was. So he was like a bit worried. But I think there is like, and of course that gap that is makes, of course, that the adoption of like when are the masses doing changing this behavior, doing that's what takes time. You have
Yeah.
this like you overestimate what tech will do in short time, and you underestimate what it can do in a long term.
Yeah.
But I think like going into like narrowing down the topic like on e-commerce, I think that will be a completely shift because like right now you have I mean you visit websites, you browse around, and there's a lot of things you can influence human behavior. Then you have like the chat GPTs where you're starting like they're launching like these new browsers, Atlas, and you have the agent mode and so on. I don't know how many they're using it yet. But when you use an agent now, on an e-commerce, what you see is like you take agent mode and then you say like, oh, look at this different if you want to shop something or what it is. But then you see like a small window where you see like the arrow is moving and it's clicking, which is like I think it is two reasons because it's like if we're honest about it, like a tech or like a computer, why should we see this interface at all?
Yeah.
Like the best interaction between two computers is not like having a window where it's like we're moving an arrow like we are doing as human and clicking and stuff like that. It's probably like zeros and like it's figures and like it's code basically. And But what you're seeing now, when you take this agent mode, it's like you see this arrow, it's going and clicking, and you see like, and you get different like options that you wanted to do, and then you confirm and so on. But I think it's two reasons now. It is like, one is the recipient part is probably not ready for it just being code that are interacting to each other. So like you're actually, it is actually moving around on a website right now and
Yeah,
clicking.
yeah,
The other part is like we as human are maybe not ready to let that AI agent just go around and do whatever, and we don't have control. We're not
sure.
ready yet to let go of the control of the agent.
Yeah,
But that's, both of these are probably just a phase, right? We need to get used to it. We need to get used to that this is happening. We need to be able to start gaining trust in the agent that it actually can perform the task. Like how, like probably it will be that you don't see all of this happening, and then maybe it comes up like, now I'm going to pay. Will you confirm that you want this one before you actually
yeah,
can
exactly. Yeah,
before it just be a prompt that buy these shoes for me, like you now, like it probably, it will be steps, and it needs to evolve. It needs to both the tech, but also like I think it's the tech is moving so fast. I think it's the human mind that it will take the time here to actually, because the technique like to do it is already here, right?
yeah, totally. And I haven't actually seen the agent mode where it like scrolls through, but isn't there like a fundamental problem in that? Because it shouldn't behave like a human to click through. It should understand the data from the website. What is this product for? What do you use this product for? And then just, feed it into the model. And I think it's not so much that right now I wish that, you could really do the end mile of saying like, oh, also just buy, and I'm going to be okay with you buying the end product. But I think it's like, and this is what I've heard on another podcast recently when they've had a conversation, their feedback is that the AI doesn't actually understand products that well. And that's why the experience when you go into an LLM and try to like sort of have that conversation of what t-shirt I should buy, it's missing all that context. But then I'm on the same side. I'm like, but it's so easy to add contextual data
And
to
is it that
your
what's happening
product.
now? You can upload your product feeds, and you can upload when they're building those, like you
I
can
think
upload,
so.
and then you will have the contextual data, right?
Yeah. So I think we've been investigating one thing. It's like especially with like Google Shopping, you have, and I might be lying, but according to my understanding, you have like 4 custom fields when you upload your product catalog to Google Shopping to use for whatever you want. And I think that's a really interesting one, to use these fields that are basically empty now or hold, whatever other data, like enrich it with like mini FAQs around the product, right? Like, this is a t-shirt. It is a heavy t-shirt. You can wear it when it's warm, right? You wear it when it's sunshine out, right? Feed it that like mini FAQ data as long to the product feed. But even if your website or app has that data and it is crawlable for agents, like it should just make that whole experience better, because now suddenly, right? Or I use the example with another friend of mine. It's like, if I needed a rain jacket living in Mallorca, I most likely don't need the same rain jacket that you would need in Sweden, right? Like, you need a thick one that keeps you a bit warm. I just need something that repels water.
Or,
But like,
yeah,
if an AI doesn't understand the difference, everything is just a rain jacket, right? Like, but your rain jacket keeps you warm as well. Mine should just, but like, start adding that semantical data on top of your product feed. And then I think we will actually start getting a really good customer experience once we have that on scale, because now AI does understand, what is the better product for where do I live? What am I looking for? Ask those questions. And then I actually think it's even more interesting, and I would love to hear your feedback on this, of are LLMs like ChatGPT or whoever giving the user the personalization experience that the brands were missing out for such a long time. And that's why we see this hype and people navigating. My daughter doesn't use Google. Like, if she's looking for something, she uses ChatGPT. She's 16 years old. She will never use normal search engines anymore. But is it because you feel like it is a personalized experience versus just going on a website, even though you've let them know about the shoe size, it still not filters all the right products, and you still get annoyed of what's available or not.
Yeah, I think, and just first, like, even my 8-year-old is coming like, Dad, can I take your phone? I'm gonna chat GPT this,
Yeah,
or like, we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
find
yeah,
out about this. I think there's like a few things. I think it's a lot of different aspects into this question. It's like, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yes, I think there's been a discrepancy for quite some times where people have felt like I'm giving a lot of data, but it's still not really good personalization. It's not really that they know. You don't feel that, it's very few brands where feel like
Yeah,
they know me. But and with AI and machine learning, like we are actually, maybe everyone have been saying this for with the tech development, but we're actually getting there where you're able to personalize because you can scale things in a completely different ways
yeah,
that you haven't been able
sure.
to do before. So I think that then maybe, I don't know, it's, I think one danger with all these ChatGPTs is that they are a bit built to agree with you as well. So they're very friendly towards you. So they a lot of times agree and say what you want to hear, which maybe might be like compelling for someone to like, they're confirming what I'm thinking. But I'm no, but I think that I think that it's one of the reasons is like, my view is that you hear sometimes people are making fun of the GPTs and they are hallucinating and all that. But my experience is that I'm using OpenAI and ChatGPT and especially a few others as well. And my experience is it becomes really really good when you use it a lot.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
starts to
yeah,
know what I'm asking for, and what type of answers I want. And I've also like you can also, but I think maybe many are not maybe that good as is actually customizing your GPTs a bit, giving it instructions what it should do and how it should
sure.
approach things and how it should like structure answers and so on.
Yeah,
So I think it is. My view is it's really good and it's getting better and so much better really fast. You can actually notice
yeah, yeah.
the improvement. Um,
But I
and
think we're talking, it's a bit of also two interesting use cases, right? Like hallucination on the one hand side of saying you use it for work, right? You want it to be accurate because you're doing research, right? Like, okay, we can't have hallucination there. And of course, the agreeing aspect might not be ideal because you want to challenge yourself by using this kind of technology, right? Like, and I see this sometimes as well with like coding. It's like, are we really doing this right? You know, like you actually
yeah,
have to challenge itself a bit harder for it to challenge the process that you're going through right now.
and
But I
it's a
think from
mindset you
a
need yourself, right? That a mindset as
correct,
well, like, to like, if not maybe asking like, am I right? Because then it will say like, yeah, you're right, you're great. But
yeah,
if you
yeah,
would like, but saying like, if you would do this in a different way, how would you do it then?
yeah,
To get
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
or give me 2 or 3 options how to approach this, or give me like, so I think there's like also how you are asking the questions. But at the
yeah, yeah,
same time, I
indeed.
hate when people say that you're prompting wrong because but like I think there is some part of it actually.
Yeah. But then if you think about the end user, right? My 16-year-old daughter, your 8-year-old daughter slash son, it's it's fine for it to be in this yes mode, right? Because what are they doing? They're going in, and my daughter might be asking, "Listen, I'm going to this Halloween party on Friday. You know, where can I get the best costumes?" You want it to be nice to you, right? You don't want to have a
No,
negative
it's
experience. And
uh,
I think from that angle, it's perfect, right? It's like, yes, it should be agreeing with you because if you go to a store, like you want the person in the store to be agreeing with you as well, right? You don't want somebody who's telling you no or off all the time. You want somebody
no,
who's
exactly.
nice, who's saying, yes, look, we've got this t-shirt here, we got that t-shirt here, or that costume, right? You want sort of that same experience. And I think that's such an interesting thing because, as you said, we share so much data with brands. They're not properly utilizing it to actually give me the experience. And then what am I doing? I'm going somewhere else to get the experience I'm getting. And if LLMs can give that to me, yeah, why would I? And this comes to your point, like, why would I ever go back to the website? And
Yeah.
then what happens with the website?
Yeah, and
you
that's an
know?
interesting topic I want to drill down because I've been thinking as well, like if you have, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. Like, okay, you have, I mean, when you have the agent, what should I like? If you have your GPTs or like your chat LLM, and then you start to like, okay, it can shop for me, it can like browse and it can compare, and I can say just buy this. I mean, then you have a few different things that are happening here. Like one, I maybe never even ever miss or visit a website. So I'm not going to go into that website ever. What is then happening with the UX and the front end and all of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you need it,
Yeah.
or I mean, is it the coding that is the most important? Then it's like the other one is like, how do you? I mean, I come a lot from like the customer engagement background. How do you influence the buyer? Because you don't need the fluffy stuff on the website. Fluffy, sorry, if someone is like, but building
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
UX, the experience, you can't interact with someone there. You can't
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's not because like now a nice website is building a lot of trust, right? Also, like, can I use this? Um, and then will I like so I will know like how do you influence me? You need to reach me so I prompt in the right way, or you need to influence my model.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know if we have another like, and what's happening then if the product is really generic, a generic product you're buying, will this be just for the e-commerce? What will happen for the e-commerce players? Will this be a race of price? Because what will happen if you take away all the front ends, more or less,
Yeah.
you don't have
Yeah.
very little front end cost. You only have like a back end and supplying and a distribution chain. Will the brands, like will Nike, for example, only sell themselves? Or
Mhm.
are they going to have resellers, but then you have an additional layer? How are they going to compete with the price here? Because if Nike only needs to build a backend, but and also like where will the LLMs actually go and search? I mean, these are
Yeah.
things
No.
that
No.
I'm
100%.
thinking about. And what will
And
happen with a lot of like resellers of brands? Will they be able to compete? Because what can you add on? What are you adding on like in the value chain? Where are your part in the value chain here?
100%. And this is it actually goes one level deeper of what I was imagining, but I love it because if I think it's similar just to maybe early years a bit of like SEO, whoever is first with being able to feed the right data with the semantic relevance and all this sort of right. Everybody's saying your website needs to have an FAQ now because that's how LLMs operate and that's what you need to have for them to like read what your website is about better. Like if you can do that with product and you're like one of the firsts to do that, I think you might have a competitive edge to give, the context now and make sure the LLM is reaching your reseller website versus Nike Direct because you've actually give it that information of saying this is a running shoe for marathons versus this is a sneaker you use for your because they're all sneakers, right? Like LLMs could interpret sneakers to be all for running, but there are some which you shouldn't use for running, right? And I have a prediction, and this might be, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but with that, I think we're going to see bidding happen in LLMs. I think they're going to monetize that aspect of saying who's going to be, especially if we're at a stage where everybody has that data and everything is sort of in a perfect world there. I think you're going to have like DSPs for LLMs sort of to say, I still want to be on top, right? And I'll spend more for my result within the LLM. I just think that's a natural, we want it to be free and not influenced. But at the end of the day, we live in a world where I don't see really that happening, to be quite honest, to say, right? So I think there's going to be that aspect at some point in time where that is going to happen. But I think and it's what's going to happen to the website or app is if the product discovery, all of like, I always try to reflect it to like, again, we look at the bow tie funnel, right? Awareness stage, consideration stage, interest stage, conversion stage. LLMs are going to take that left piece, right? They're all going to they're going to eat up that left side of that funnel. The only way for you to then go is to make sure and with the communications have solid loyalty. And that's where I think maybe it is going to become like everything's going to become like a sort of club, right? Like you've bought the product, sign up, and then you start trying to move people into your sort of gated assets because you have, exclusive drops for your customers. But then again, it's still the North Star to make sure that once you actually get them to engage, and these might be your super high value customers that will say, yeah, sure, I'll sign up to your website because like I'll get certain additional benefits that I couldn't get from the AI. That experience still needs to be good, right? Like you
Yeah,
can't
right. And
just
it's
put an email
misleading.
login on your website and it's still shit.
No, no, exactly.
You
I
know?
mean, maybe the website will be other parts that are like building inspirational in some in other ways and stuff like that. But I'm also think like it also depends on what product you sell, right? Because if it's a super generic product that is the same, it's super standardized, it's the same
Yeah.
regardless. Then
Yeah.
I mean, I won't care. I want the cheapest.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah. Yeah, it's
this
true.
is when you see this in loyalty programs in general, where like brands when they try to do like I want to do a loyalty program, and then you have talked like the last few years a lot about emotional connections, but emotion it can be really hard to build emotional programs on I don't know different type depending on what brand you are. And in some contexts, it's like, yeah, here we have something emotional connecting to what you're using this product for and so on. But
Yeah.
in some ways, it's really like, I don't know, like some parts you're buying, some things you're buying, you maybe like, I want, this is the same thing regardless where I buy it. I just
Yeah,
want it.
TVs. I just for whatever reason thought of like a plug for like you need a second socket or something, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't really matter. But then it just comes down to again price, maybe all the semantic data, right? Like if then the LLM says, okay, Amazon's MCP is connected, but also MediaMarkt's MCP is connected. Who just has the better data to say, look, here, go buy this product because, here 6,000 people gave 5 stars. And while it's not the cheapest, you have, great returner policy. So it comes down to, again, what data you can feed
yeah.
into the AI and how you're smart on doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one key. I think the data I'm more into on the semantic is that is like the angle into how can you influence the LLMs? Like
Yeah,
how can you still
yeah,
influence them to how can you if you have like you should influence the human, you should influence the tech here, you would be like be influencing my
yeah,
agent, how it should be doing
yeah,
it. I think also like one interesting angle on this is like we do mention like media market and Amazon is like I think you will have these networks especially if you have this type of products where it's that are quite like standard, then you need to have a network and you're selling a lot of different things because if I like I'm buying a standardized product, I want the cheapest. I still want to be sure that it is like someone that will send
yeah,
the
exactly,
product.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it
That's
doesn't
what
take 40 days because it comes from China.
no, exactly, and then maybe I like maybe and that's what's happening. I think like Amazon is putting their name on. You have a lot of resellers. Maybe it's coming from China there, but then Amazon
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the one building putting the trust. They are putting like their
yeah,
name. So I think that
yeah.
that's like you might be having like all these like networks or aggregators that are actually like putting trust. Then I think the other part here is maybe I'm jumping here, but what you mentioned also, like maybe you don't want it to become sent from China. That's the other part I think you can influence. I think you can influence my prompting to my agent, right? So I might put in like, I want a sustainable product. I want this and this. It should
Mm,
be sustainable manufactured. I want someone that is going to repair it for me if it breaks. But I want the cheapest of these that you can find, maybe. But I think you still have maybe have ways here to influence how am I giving the agent instruction.
and I think that is an interesting part, especially because you mentioned like green products. That is zero party data at the end of the day that you want to collect from your users up front to have that understanding about your user of what they like actually want, right? So it's like, why not start collecting that data now So once you can actually feed it into, and I think this is, and I'm still confused if I say MCP, that's always the right thing. But at the end of the day, you do want to make sure that once you as the brand connect to like an LLM, you can feed like your MCP, Telium's MCP, High-Touch's MCP on top of that as well, for then the LLM to potentially even understand what kind of customer are you, right? Do you want, because it's all stored there. Are you a green customer? What's your spending patterns, etc.? That might even influence that as well, right? To say, what should be the recommendation I give you? But at the end of the day, it comes down to what data you have and what data are you going to actually feed into these tools to give that user that good experience.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is like you have that circle here, because like the more you know about me, the better you can
Yeah,
probably like put into
yeah,
your describing your
yeah,
products and so on. Not only like
yeah,
it's specific for me, but then like when you add up the customer base, that like, okay, what is it that how should we stand out,
yeah,
making the
exactly.
LLM, the agents to display us?
Yeah, yeah. But now you think about it, and I think that's exactly one of the biggest problems right now is like when you think about a user using an LLM like OpenAI, and what happens, right? You might start out, I need shoes. Okay, the LLM will ask you, great. What type of shoes are you looking for? What is your shoe size, right? It has that conversation with you, which I said earlier, brands are not having, right? I'm like, I go to one of the biggest retailers in Europe. I go on the website. I'm not being asked anything. They have 5,000 products. I get super confused. All the zero party stuff around shoe size or t-shirt sizes or whatsoever gets hidden somewhere in the user portal on the website, right? And breaks on the website if you look at shoes, but you have like flip-flops in there, or you look, and I've tested this example. I gave all this data, right? Like my shoe size is 43. Great, but it breaks because out of the 5,000 products, 10 had a different size with like LMS or something, and then this whole filter mechanism breaks, and you're still stuck with 5,000 shoes, even though you let them know that your shoe size is 43. So you can most likely filter out 50% of your product portfolio because I can't buy it anyways, right? So, and then I just get frustrated. But like, if you think that psychologically, like even if search and, people going to the website is still a thing, but then how do you change it today on your website at least to have that conversation with your customers? And it's not that hard. It's like, I don't understand, right?
Yeah.
And this is where
It's
I
a
think
bit weird
LLMs
when
are going to
you're
take over.
seeing it. Like, why aren't more like, at least you should have that option. Like, do you want questions? Like, how do you want us to filter down? Like, you have this, you have to yourself, but rather like asking questions. What are you looking for? You're going to like a retailer for buying that sells clothes, and like, okay, I'm looking for shoes. Okay, narrow down to shoes. What type of shoes? Oh, sneakers. What size? And then like, okay, here are the ones that you can select from.
I
But
don't
it's not.
understand.
It should be able to do it that interactively, but
Yeah,
I
no,
cannot
we've
can't
we've
tell.
had, and
I've seen
yeah,
that.
no, and I've had this conversation with a buddy of mine. It's like when we were discussing this whole sort of first page personalization aspect, right? It was like, when I've had this conversation, and it must have been like 3, 4, 5 years ago, where it had like a huge hype, at least with the brands I was working with, and everybody was like, "No, we need to be doing this in like 100 milliseconds because we want to avoid that flicker, right? That happens on the website if you like do these overlays." But I'm like, why not just let the user know you're personalizing the website for them? Take that second of time to adjust the website, but you have a conversation with them. You let them know, hey, user, thank you for coming back. I'm making sure I'm showing you the most relevant products that we have in stock and are perfect for you. I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't leave the website if that takes a second to do it.
No,
It's
I
like
think
you're having a conversation. You know what I
I'm not
mean?
yeah, exactly. I think as long as you're adding value there, like feeling that okay, they're giving me value back here because I'm making that second. I actually know I'm not a like UX expert, but I never understand. I understand that the websites need to be really, really fast, but I don't like if it's a second, it's
Well,
I'm gonna
but
wait
that
that second maybe. But I don't know, maybe it is research that you are abandoning. But I think this is if I feel that you're giving me value, then I would definitely
yeah.
wait.
But the second with a circle that's spinning is a different second than I'm having a conversation with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right? You
exactly.
know what I mean? It's like I understand you're giving me something. It's not that the
Yeah, like I'm
website
bringing
isn't
out the
loading.
products. I'm looking for
Correct.
size 43
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Do it
Browsing
like the
out.
LLMs do it if you connect an MCP to it. Oh, I'm going to do this research now. Oh, look, I'm going to look at this table now. Like it lets you know what it's doing. So you're like hooked onto your screen, understanding what your LLM is doing, and then you get a result.
And
I don't
actually,
think
like
there's
when they
any.
are maybe not applicable to like when you're on the site, but when they are actually when you want them to do thorough research, you're actually happy that it takes a bit longer time because like now it's really
Exactly.
look
Yeah.
it's
Now,
really
oh, great. Now they're
yeah.
actually showing me the shoes that are available in my size and highlight the products that are like L, M, and S to say, these are not 43, these are different. But they like switch it, right? The whole system breaks because of an outlier of a percent versus it
Mm.
should be the other way around. The
Yeah,
system should work and you just highlight the products which are not applicable because they're still sneakers or whatever, but for whatever reason, it's like S, M, and L in sizing versus 40, 41, 42, 43.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But it's like, it feels like we have it backwards right now. And this is why I think, back to your thing, LLMs are going to take over, period, to have that conversation with you. Because they're giving us what the brands are not. They seem to be personalizing every interaction that I have with it to make sure, yes, Robin, look, here is the best t-shirt for you. Yes, I want to be addressed like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And if I
yeah,
wanted to be
yeah, you want.
harsher, I could tell it.
And I think there's like another aspect on it as well that if you are buying specific things, like you have probably like, I don't know, when I'm gonna, if I'm gonna buy a speaker, I have that friend that I reach out to because I know that he's doing the research, he's the nerd looking into that and so on. But now every buyer can become more or less that person because
Yes.
I can be like, okay, I will ask my LLM like, or what speakers, or actually I did it with this summer. I was like, I'm gonna buy a new barbecue. I'm not interested at all in barbecues, but I am like, we have this one. I think it worked well. This is the price I can be like, that is reasonable. I want it to be fairly similar size. Give me the suggestions and why like the pros and cons of it. And then I like, I got like a few different and I mean, so I think every buyer here can be the one that are well prepared, can look through the details, can ask. And I think this applies to what you're talking about. I'm a bit surprised some of the clothing brand haven't sold it, but with the sizing that you're saying, like you have like pants can also be like, what size is it? Because like someone have the different measurement all the time. But I mean, the LLM can explain this to you. Like, okay, you have 43, then you probably can have this size as well. It should be applicable to you that you can use. And I mean, this is the same. Like, if it's a tech product or if it's like whatever, like something that you need to be like uh, maybe buying something for the first time, like or like buying a car, or but like you can actually research in a completely
Yeah.
different way that you could
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and
And
easy.
just like, yeah, 100%. And I've started building some things, right? Like coding it and sort of putting all the nuances together with like, you need a backend and a cloud data warehouse to store the data. Sometimes it's just Python scripts that run in the background that let you know this, right? It's like it always felt for me like so abstract in terms of like what can I do technically? But now I like built a personalization canvas. And suddenly, even when you then talk to the AI, it lets you know how you could do this to have these different filters, right? So I'm like, I'm confused. Like, are we just too busy to not wanting to give our customers a good experience? Like, I don't, I'm confused, right? And then everybody's just building like enterprise GPTs, but it's like, where is your customer centricity? Why aren't you doing exactly these things for your customers and take a step back and say, are we actually doing the right thing on our website? Like,
Yeah.
if we have, Adidas has this data in the background as well. They have all of the zero-party data questions, but you're never proactively engaged. And I feel that's just a shame. It's like there's so much missed opportunity in a world where I think, as you said, the biggest threat is going to be an LLM, and your website is literally going to be obsolete.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's sometimes I have a hard time to understand this as well, because like if you personalize, if you're using there is definitely a business case for it.
Yeah.
It's of course
Yeah.
an investment you need to do upfront and a lot of work probably, but there's definitely a business case there. But then I don't know, maybe we are, sometimes you don't see what you say, like you don't see the trees for the forest or something like that. I don't know, but like you're too busy where you are right now, and like we're selling these products, it's working. Why should I do this thing? And maybe, I mean, how fast do you need to adapt? That's also like a question.
Yeah, and then we come back to sort of the data, right? Yes, the search volume for OpenAI is not higher yet than normal search volume. But again, it comes back to like, are you just prepared? Like, have you done the right steps today for this world? And honestly speaking, like my daughter is 16, right? Like she's going to go back to Germany. She's going to start working. She's going to make her own money. She will be a consumer on the markets like in half a year to be able to take her own decisions. And you need to be ready for that audience. I might still, well, actually, I don't do classical search anymore either, to be quite frank. But like, how long do you actually have, like, to be all right with not doing it? Considering even my grandma uses ChatGPT now because it's just so much easier. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah, but
like,
it is that, and it's also like I was gonna say that my father-in-law, he is 83. He doesn't know how it works really, but he's asking questions like, I think this, what is this? How does it work? I think this will
yeah,
change. He is even saying like this will change
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the
He's
use
like,
case
I
might be
understand
different,
that
right?
this. He was
But
like, I'm new to it, but I was like, I understand that this is groundbreaking.
yeah. Yeah, and I hear this story from another friend of mine. Like, her dad must be the same age, roundabout, and he's just using it to cook now, right? Like he gets his recipe, he gets his tutorials of like how to cook. That's amazing. That is the first step of not even going on Google anymore, Googling a recipe and trying to go through these recipe websites where you have a million ads, and then at the very end it says like what you need and then the different steps. You just killed even the ad industry for these websites, because it's all there, right? But it is there because they're personalizing us. They're having a conversation with me where I feel good about, versus I have to scroll and then there's another pop up, and then it's just
Uh,
also that is not a
but
great user experience.
that experience is another story. Like, I mean, you can't barely go in, like before you are like you need to, I think that's also like losing. I think that then you're going for like, okay, we think we sell parts of these ads, but you're completely breaking the customer experience.
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
now that's
also
an
happening.
interesting one.
Yeah.
How are ads going to change? If LLMs, like, are we going to have banners in ChatGPT moving forward?
Maybe the free version will. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Actually,
start
maybe
often
this
like
might
that,
be.
right? It start
Did
often like
it?
that, right? You get the volume up, then you have a paid version, then you get it ad free, and then the other ones will be like funded by ads. Because they need to find like a sustainable business model, right? They're not like if you
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
OpenAI, they're not making money.
But then the interesting part is like, it would be interesting what AI says now. How should you add ads to like ChatGPT, right? Like, cause it's, it, banners, I guess might work, but like, are you just going to, before you get your results, answer after you prompted are going to say, here's a commercial. I just wanted to let you know that MediaMarkt has a sale right now. And then your answer comes. I think that
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
an
those
interesting one, but
broader
who
ones.
knows?
I'm thinking the specific ones. Maybe get like Google, like here's a paid ad for shoes, and here's the one I
Yeah.
suggested. Um,
Well, they are making their own browsers now, right? Everybody's making the browser. So in order to go into the realm of advertising is definitely doable, right? But a lot of things are changing. So I think
yeah,
that's
a lot
pretty
of
clear.
another thing on like customer engagement that I've been thinking about, like now a big thing that many are missing out on, I think, as well, not doing that well, is like the real time like in session communication, basically. How do you like that you can? But what will happen with that when you do it in your agent? Like it's am I gonna let? I mean, you have these. I don't know if you saw it. Like talking about the browsers, like you have Atlas, and then you saw like Brace launched the SDK like that you can do.
Mm.
But do you want messages then, depending on what you're searching on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
or
this
how
comes
you can influence it in real time, basically. But I mean, of course, you can influence the content that you show, maybe the one, depending on if you're searching or if you're asking queries about.
but doesn't that just come back to again the semantic relationship of data? And if even if Braze, like what's like we looked into this with a knowledge graph recently and another sort of AI tool that's sort of like an agent orchestration tool. It's like it worked well, or it works well because you have all this metadata on your data. But if you don't have this metadata, like how is Braze going to actually show the right ad or the right banner or the right whatever in the LLM or in that new browser environment, right? And is it for me, especially as like now setting up House of Mad, right? Like I'm talking to a friend of mine around like, how do we scale LinkedIn? How can we write better posts? But it's like also these IDs, like me personally, I don't even want to touch these things anymore because they take so much time, right? So I just want an app on my phone that I can talk to. But is that also the new behavior of saying, damn, I need new sneakers because all my other ones are broken. What are the 5 best types I can buy like now, right? And it's so quick. There is not all this going back and forth anymore. It's like you talk to your agent, you just talk to your own personal assistant on your phone who does it, and then he takes care of all the rest, right? That's actually an interesting use case if I think about it right now. You just build like personal assistant apps that then does it for you and give you the 5 products because I don't want to search anymore, right? I need to close customers. I don't have time to go to 10 different websites and figure out if they have this shoe in my size.
Yeah, no, but I think it that's what it's going to happen. It's going to be you have your
Yeah.
assistant.
Yeah.
They're going to be like your personal assistant in a lot of different things. Like, oh, add this to shopping list, or I need to change tires on the cars that date, or can you book a time? Can you and also like I don't know if it's maybe not everyone living that, but like you have, I mean, I have 2 small kids. We have both like good jobs. It's really busy. It's a lot of things all the time that it's like, oh, I need to do that. I need to fix that. But I mean, when it appears, I would just like, okay, can you note me about that? Or can you book this appointment?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
you give me suggestions of new shoes to the kids for like, or like it's winter, or it's wet outside. I need this
Yeah. Yeah.
better.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And this is where I think, of course, ChatGPT or OpenAI, they're with all the connectors they have, it feels like they want to go down this route, but like even from that perspective, they're not even doing that good from a UI UX. Yes, it learns from all the chats that you have, but why doesn't ChatGPT just ask you a couple of questions up front and build that profile from the get-go with zero-party data of saying, this is your shoe size, this is where you live, right? If you're okay with sharing your household income, maybe, like, you know what I mean? It just gets better and better by having that information. But it like now gets better because you have conversations versus the proactive give me your data so I can do a better job for you kind of
Yeah,
situation.
exactly. I would be able to provide you this if you give me this
Yeah, exactly.
information. Be better on this.
But
I
again,
feel
why
I
aren't brands
don't
doing
have
it?
that much data about this for about you. Can you add in? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
no, but I
yeah. And
definitely
it's
see
all
it as
there
a
for the brands.
personal assistant, and I think
Sorry.
probably someone built one. I haven't seen like someone that is really really good yet, but I think this is coming to be like your
Yeah.
connected assistant that you have with you all the time.
Yeah. And then it might be able to connect to loyalty platforms, right? Because you still want to collect the points, and you just might have your favorites too. You might say, my favorite sneaker brand is Adidas. Just find me the best Adidas deals. If that's directly or from, resellers or whatsoever. Oh yeah, they have a loyalty program. Great. Yeah, sure. Sign me up. But we're back to the point. Why do you need a website then?
No, exactly. And I think what's happening, then you don't need the website maybe, and then you take away. There's a lot of people that might lose the job on that. Maybe you need them in another direction. Like that's another topic on the AI thing, I think. But giving that, let's say that you removed a lot of the front end for the shop. Then you come down to back end, and then you come down to like a price thing because there's no emotional attachment to that part at least.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
then I think like loyal. Then you need to think like, okay, how can you be in a network where you can give the best deals or have the exclusivity to like you get access to these different parts because you are like a loyal customer to me, or how
Yeah.
can you work with the different rates together with the different like because you are in a like large network where you give different things, or like having a holistic approach to something like a travel or something like that. um
Yeah. And I think it's nuanced because you just mentioned travel, right? I think travel might be a bit more complex still, too many nuances. And I've heard other people say that they try to book flights on ChatGPT, but it's just the experience is not good yet. But like, what does it take for that to be good, right? And the more I look at least into it, like I think we're missing crucial elements in terms of data, what we feed back into the LLM to understand it appropriately. And we're doing the tests right now to say 5 tables with no context versus 5 tables with all the right metadata. Like, what are the different results that you can get out of an LLM when you literally compare it next to each other? But even this FAQ stuff, it seems so simple, right? Like for the personalization canvas, when I built out the website, it's like, how do we actually make sure this is all like AI readable or LLM readable? And then it's like, oh yeah, we need an FAQ. This is how we need to structure it, blah, 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 all the
that's
metadata,
how you have to
etc.
think,
So
right? I hear brands
yeah.
talking about SEO optimizing their emails for LLM because
Hmm.
it's like look in my inbox, like what email will it find? So they are like looking at
Yeah,
how can
exactly.
they, yeah.
Yeah. But again, then it comes down to, and yeah, it's super interesting. Like what's it, if you're a good enough brand and you actually have maybe a good experience from a loyalty angle. But then also the question is, could that not just be integrated as well, where, I don't know, the LLMs at some point just take content from your website and start, like you almost have your own little app builder that just takes in all the different elements from all different things to like populate your own little personalized atlas experience to say, oh, here are your points from this brand, right? Like this is your status right now, and like you sort of get personalized dashboards
Yeah,
by
yeah.
just pulling in this data.
You will probably
Yeah,
have your inboxes together with your assistant as well.
yeah,
So you'll have the
yeah,
inbox at the same place, basically. Um,
yeah.
you
And
probably
and
have.
and that's the thing because it reads so much, right? I'm a bit worried right now with a lot of the N8N automations that are floating around on LinkedIn, where you're like, guys, this is all big models. Don't just connect it to your inbox and have it read, all of your emails that you receive. Like that might be a bit scary. But and it's even that becomes easier to build. I imagine my son being able to build these automations and have these IDs with vibe coding in the next 5 years.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think I've done it. I have built coding and I can't code. And I have started to code the things and done it for like
Yeah,
automated things. And
yeah.
I'm not a coder in the background at all, but I was like, how I need to do this. I don't have the resource available right now. How do I automate this using like ChatGPT to figure it out? And then I built that. Then I sent, and then when my developer was like, "Oh, I have time now," I was like, "No, I built this," and he like looked at it like, "Okay, this is really good, actually." Um,
And I think that's an interesting part, right? It's not just it's because this is what when I've read about vibe coding, I because I'm using it as well for the last couple of months. It's like, and then people say, "Oh yeah, but it's gonna fall on our feet in like a year's time because AI just writes it too complex, etc., etc." Yes, it's not a coder. I get that, right? But you get very far, very fast. And if it works and it runs stable, why do I care if it could have been 3 seconds faster? I
no,
don't
no,
know.
exactly.
Like,
And I
you know.
and I think then if you can do that, I mean, that's also like similar with like how the scalability. Then you can test and learn things, and it works. And then like, okay, we need this to be an enterprise product. Okay, build it from here then, because you're already a lot like coming a lot
Yeah,
longer than if I
yeah,
would just have
yeah,
tried to explain it to
yeah,
you in a PowerPoint or something. But I meant, but
yeah,
we actually
exactly.
have something that might work now for some smaller scale, and then like, okay, build it from here then.
Yeah,
Um,
no, indeed, indeed.
so
I sadly have to jump to my next call, my friend. But maybe this time around, we're not going to take another 3 months to actually set this up. I'll send you another invite and then you
yeah,
can just move it around.
yeah, let's do that.
Because I don't think we're finished, to be quite frank. I think there is still a lot of nuances to unpack here of how is this actually going to change and how can you make some right now adjustments to how you look at what data you have, how to collect, zero party data for your organization to just become better at a point where it has not taken over the masses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think actually a lot of brands are like, we understand, we maybe agree with you that it's groundbreaking, but what should we do now? We don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
What
Yeah.
is it I should
Yeah.
do? I can't find the right
But
way.
yeah. But then, and this is, let's use this as the topic then for the next call, because I think it's like, who really knows at this point in time? But same with A/B testing, right? Like, or rolling out something. You never have to do it on 100% of your users. I feel like brands are too scared sometimes. You do it on like 2%, 5%, right? You test if it works and then you scale. That is the mentality I think we need. So let's unpack
And
that in our next
yeah,
call.
and
I'll
that's
send you
something
a
we talked
placeholder.
about on agentic AI and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Good. Looking
Okay.
forward, Emil. Have a great rest of your
Likewise.
Monday and enjoy the week.
Likewise.
Ciao.
Ciao.